Hey, welcome to the Top Human Podcast. Today we have Nick Antico as our guest today. What's up, Nick?
What's up, Andre? How you doing, bro?
Doing great, man. Nick and I just came from a wellness event this morning.
It
Yeah,
was
cold
awesome.
plunge, sauna, two saunas, wood burning saunas, two cold plunges,
Hmm.
free B12 shots. They had pickleball, they had wellness drinks, they
Yeah,
had chiropractors there, they had tons of stuff.
and just a bunch of dope people. That's probably the best part.
I was just gonna say, I think that was the best part. I love seeing this movement of wellness events that are happening and the people
Yeah.
we were talking to. I was meeting new people, you were meeting new people, and a
Hmm.
lot of us were like, we like how this is a like non-alcoholic event. People aren't drunk, people aren't stoned, no one's high. We're all
Yeah.
here showing up just to have a good time on a Saturday.
Hmm. Yeah, it's tons of fun. And the whole time you're in it, you're just like, dude, I don't even want this to end. Like, let's just, what are we doing now? Like, now where are we gonna go? And it's one of the
Right.
things. Like, I think I was talking to you. I've thought about, and I was talking. I got into talking to this guy Miles today about how it's
Yep.
like I meet the most interesting people in the world in saunas. Like I just meet
Yeah.
like the coolest people with like the best mindsets. They're creative. They're outside the box thinkers. They're more aware. It's like you can have deeper, real, conscious conversations. And for me, that's something that I really, really like. I feed off of, and I appreciate so much. And so
Totally.
I get to be honest and I get to be real, and I don't have to like I don't have to like filter what I'm saying. It's just like, yo, let's go. And you can meet someone like we first time we met, it was the same thing. It was just like we just went boom right into like the dope shit, and it's just like, oh, this guy's cool as fuck. Like he's right there with me. This is cool as hell. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's one of the things with the like you said, it's a sober event, so there's no alcohol, so there's not a lot of ego. It's people. Most of the people are
Mm.
in shape and they're fit because it's at an event where it's yeah. You can go do a yoga class, you can go do a spin class, a cycling class, a circuit class. You get your it's everything's health and fitness related, and it just brings people who are into that together, and then we get to like network and connect and meet other people who are like, I'm tired of the only way to network and connect is at late night events at bars where people are drunk, and they're, if anything, they're more unconscious and they're just numbed out. It's like we're there as a way to like tap in more and connect with ourselves as well as other people. And yeah, it's to be around health conscious people is an entirely different perspective, and I think I'm grateful for it for sure. Like you said.
100%, man. Yeah, I've loved it. I used to have people over at my house. I built my own cold plunge, and I would invite people over. And
Hmm.
I try to build that little community for myself, 2 years ago. And none of these events existed back then,
Yeah.
really, or even 1 year ago. So they're kind of been popping up. So I love it, man. Yeah, I'm gonna keep going. We've got another one tomorrow morning.
Right.
So real quick on your background, just for people who don't know you, right? You're an online fitness coach and trainer, certified functional nutritionist. You're a life coach. You work with clients like one on one and build custom plans for them and everything.
Hmm.
And maybe it's not totally visible in this video, but you're absolutely shredded. So there are a lot of reasons to have this conversation today, right? And we're going to be talking about the nervous system
Hmm.
and why it's so important and and how to regulate it, right? And
Hmm.
one of the things, I mean, I felt amazing after the event today. And the cold plunge and the sauna are some of the best tools, I think, for nervous system. I was going to say deregulation, but nervous system regulation.
Right.
Um, and so, just let's take a step back, right? Why are we even talking about the nervous system, right? We talked a little bit about this like right before we started.
Hmm.
You and I both know how important this is, right? I've known for a long time my nervous system is in a weird state. And I've been looking for the best tools to bring it back to a normal state. And over the years, that has not been easy, but it's becoming easier and easier the more people I meet that we can have these conversations, right?
Hmm.
So, why are we even talking about the nervous system in the first place?
The first thing that comes to mind is like I saw something recently. It was talking about how when you show up truly, authentically, and vulnerably, and you're willing to like put that out there, it creates a safe container for the people around you to also do that. And that alone regulates your nervous system. Because so many people are in this constant state of like fight or flight, or like there's like this humming of stress that we just live in, and we call it social anxiety, or we call it depression, or we call it some type of mental disorder, and it's just kind of normalized, and we just accept that as, oh, that's normal. And like we've talked about, it's just, I don't think that's normal. I think that's an immediate sign of dysregulation of your nervous system, you know? And the reason we're having this conversation is because, similar to you, like I went through some toxic mold illness stuff that like was an immediate like shift in my life paradigm. Like I was this health and fitness conscious person, trainer, all that stuff. And then all of a sudden I started getting sick, and I was never sick. Like I never got sick before that. And so it started this entire crazy journey of me eventually finding out after a year of being off and on sick that I had toxic mold illness. And that started now my journey of not just detoxing toxic mold illness, but now retraining my microbiome and retraining my nervous system, because my nervous system had been in so much fight or flight continuously 24/7 for the last year, over the last year. And so it really woke me up. It really put me on this like just this new level of awareness of like, man, like there's more going on than just muscles and abs, right? And money, right? It's like, it was just like, when I actually started healing my nervous system just from that, it started showing me how much more there is to healing my nervous system when it gets to, when we've talked about like trauma and like healing trauma, because our bodies literally hold on to trauma in our fascia, which is, I know, something that you're getting into with the chiropractic work and all that stuff. And it's like releasing that. And it's like, I mean, I've done I do the continuous inner work all the time. Whenever I feel a trigger come up, that's something I need to work on. And I sit with it and I process it. And every time I give myself the time to sit with it, process it, find the root cause of it, pull it out of the roots and let it go and send love to that part of myself, I feel my nervous system relax even more, to a level I didn't know that I could even go to. And it almost seems just like, we've talked about it, majority of us are living in this constant state of like slight buzzing of stress. We're not aware of it. So we're dealing with these mental challenges that we just say are normal. So many of us have digestive and gut issues that we consider normal. So we just take Pepto-Bismol, or we take Tums, or everyone just eats these things all the time, you know. And it's like, in I'm at the point that I'm at now, that with the way I've helped people, what I've noticed with myself and my clients, a lot of times, even the addiction to the toxic food, it's a nervous system dysregulation. There's something going on that's an imbalance. And so now you're clinging to something external to you to try and soothe, right? Why do we get into toxic relationships? I think it's a nervous system dysregulation. Our nervous system is attached and addicted to this toxic pattern, this toxic feeling. Like it's literally, I believe it is the root of everything. And we don't even know how good we can feel.
And that's a huge part, dude. Like, similar, like everything you just said, totally, I'm on board with. And you said like you were living in fight or flight for like a year or more. I've been living in that state for at least 4 years, you know, and it's crazy to me. It's crazy to me how much I've been able to continue to function while being in fight or flight. First of all, you know, you would think your life would fall apart if you were in this state that was super unhealthy for you. Well, you don't. The human body is amazing at coping, and we have a very high threshold for stress and pain. right?
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate, but it's the way it is.
Right.
And so trying to solve that problem, right? Trying to find the solution. There's so many superficial, like skin deep band-aid solutions out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't even begin to name them all. There's just so many. And with my background being a software developer, I've been trained and got really good at, finding the root causes of problems so we can solve something at the root level.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the human psyche and the human body, the farther in you go, you basically get to just the nervous system and then energy, which is what runs throughout the nervous system. And of course, the fascia as well, like you mentioned. So there isn't any further you can go if you're trying to solve something than the physical aspects of like your body, and the nervous system is like that farthest piece. And then the energy, which is the nervous system, is like the antenna for the energy, right? It's like the nervous system is the hardware, the energy is the software.
Yeah.
In a way. And so it's that dance. And so, yeah, we can't really go any farther than that. And that's what I've learned in my experience. So it's cool to hear you say the same thing. And I think people are beginning to become aware of that. And we're starting to know, like, we need to work on ourselves at this deep of a level. And even some aspects of doctors, maybe not medical doctors, but like chiropractic doctors are starting to, and they've known actually chiropractors for a long time. Like the nervous system is like where it's at.
Yeah.
And it affects us in so many ways. So let's just real quick talk about what the nervous system is. I think, who knows, some people have different levels of education. But like physically, what are the different like physical aspects of the nervous system? Just real quick, let's go through that.
So the nervous system it's a system of the body, just like the muscular system, the skeletal system, and all that stuff. And it is, I think it's really related to energy, and it's really related to the mind as well. And it's in this constant state of, it's kind of like, it's a sensory organ, right? Like it's paying attention to the external environment, and it's taking in energy, and it's kind of deciding how to respond to it. That's kind of the way that I look at it. And it's just these nerve endings that run throughout the entire body. When you get into your chiropractic work, you understand this stuff.
Yeah. But then there's the way I see it too, is there's two parts to it. I guess there's two different sets of two aspects of it. There's the central nervous system, which is your brain and your spinal cord. And then there's the peripheral nervous system, which is everything that comes outside of your spinal cord into all the aspects of your body.
Right.
And that's the hardware piece, but then that also is split into two, which is the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. And the parasympathetic side of the nervous system is our rest and digest, right?
Yeah.
It's what gives us, it makes us produce bile. It keeps our appetite going. We digest food. We get horny and we have sex drive because of all of that side of the nervous system. And then there's the fight or flight, the sympathetic half, which is, survival. I need to, be efficient with my oxygen so that I can run away and save my body, stuff like that. And, living in that state of sympathetic dominance for years, like, yeah, we're going to have gut issues because I'm in that state. I'm not going to have a huge sex drive because I'm in that state. I need to shift back into the parasympathetic. And there's so many things just from what you were talking about at the beginning that we're doing as a society, just collectively these days, that is keeping us in that state as well, right? We're looking at screens way more than we used to. And the blue light is just constant stimulation. And that stimulation is keeping us, especially the blue light, right? That's keeping us in that activated, heightened state of awareness, hyperarousal, hypervigilance. A lot of that is contributing to that, especially if we're on our phones or screens late at night and then we go to sleep. It's messing with our sleep circadian rhythm, and we're not sleeping as well. And sleep is one of the best ways to help restore the body.
Yeah.
And so if we're not sleeping as well and we're getting this constant stimulation all the time, and then while we're on our phones or computers, we're hunched over like this. And then our physical body is in this like fight or flight stance all the time, right? We're just on a keyboard or something. And the physical tension on the nervous system and the positioning of the nerves also puts us in fight or flight, right? There's the research of like, do this for 5 minutes before an interview and you're going to do so much better and like answer the questions better, right?
Yeah.
So it's really fascinating. And so many of us are just stuck in this mode. It's crazy.
Well, and then there's, to add to that, it's like, then there's the EMF, and then there's...
Right? Yep.
Right? And
I
then,
should not be wearing these right now, but I am.
Right?
These literally will give me a headache if I wear them too long. Yep.
And then it's the heavy metals in the water, the heavy metals in our food, the meds and hormones in our food, and the pesticide. It's just like there's so much against us.
So
right?
much. Yeah.
And if you're not aware of it, you don't know what choices to make to put yourself in a better situation or a better environment to a better environment that's more conducive to downregulating the nervous system. You know, we wake up, we go right into the day. The average person wakes up, the first thing to do is drink coffee, jacks up your nervous system,
Boom.
right? And then
right there.
Right into a day. And then most people also wake up and their first thought is negative, like, fuck, I got to do this again. Or, I got to go to this job. It's like
negative
that right there
first thing in the morning
puts you in a like low vibrational state and puts you in a sympathetic state. And then literally we just live in that all day, you know, and then we're driving around in traffic. That's another one. It's just like there's so many things that we live in that are just like constantly triggering our nervous system all the time. And if you're not aware of your nervous system, if you're not aware of your body, if you're not aware of these things, you become a victim of your environment. And so now you're in this constant state of fight or flight, of sympathetic dominance, and we wonder why we're depressed and anxious all at the same time, and we don't feel like we don't have a purpose in our lives, and we don't have a mission, and there's so many people that live quiet lives of desperation, and it's due to the fact that like they don't want to put themselves out into the world and go after what they want to because they're afraid. And the reason they're afraid is because of a nervous system response, you know, and that's where it's like, for me, like the first thing I drove to is like, there's so many different modalities. Like we've talked about cold plunging and sauna and fixing your diet and getting hydrated. And even like you said, like hunching over like this, it's not even just the physical act, but it's the lack of oxygen. Your body's not going to breathe properly in this state. So it's like, open up and breathe. And that's when it's like, when you take moments to like truly deep belly breath, right? Deep diaphragmatic breathing that fills your oxygen tank to the brim. That alone, and then a slow exhale, helps you get more into the parasympathetic state. And so it's like, for me, that's step one. Like, what do? That's step one. Breathe. Like, get conscious of your breathing. Just, you're in a stressful situation, you're stuck in traffic, someone's yelling at you, take a deep breath and let it out slowly. Like, I did it before, I did like 5 minutes of it before our call today. Just because it's just like, and it's just, I feel myself ground into the present moment. I feel myself relax. I feel my shoulders relax. I feel my jaw relax. I feel my body just calm down. You know, I didn't eat as much because we did so much sauna and cold plunge today. But it's like, it's something I like to do, you know? It's a moment of
It's nice to feel good, right? It's good to feel grounded and present.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And that's where I think most people have no idea what that feeling is, you know?
Unfortunately. Or you forget, right? I think you mentioned that at the very beginning is, you know, we're all born with a blank. Well, I don't know if I believe that, unfortunately, anymore, that we're all born with a blank slate. Because pregnancy, our parents' nervous systems, right? They can all affect us before we're even born.
Yeah.
But let's say we're born with a blank slate and clean. Society is going to condition and program us and our nervous systems in a certain way. And especially if you have toxic illness, which we've both had, right?
Yeah.
If you're in that long enough, you're going to forget what it feels like to be healthy, 100%.
Yeah.
So my whole goal and mission for the past several years has been, what are the best tools to detoxify, to get back to baseline, to just be normal again, right? They say a healthy man has 100 wishes. A sick man has one wish, just to be healthy. And the breath is a great place to start for a lot of people. I didn't start there, but I've used that in breathwork so much. And I've read an article, I forget the details of it, but the way the diaphragm is innervated by like the vagus nerve and just the different halves of the nervous system, it's fascinating how direct of a connection it is, right? When you start controlling your brain, like you said. And I also think that the diaphragm and the breath is a really interesting place to interact with, because one, it's controlled by your subconscious, right? When you sleep, you're breathing, right? And it's controlled by your conscious mind. So it's one of the few places where it's controlled, your breathing is controlled both consciously and subconsciously. And so if you start consciously interacting with that aspect, you are starting to interact with the subconscious aspect of yourself as well.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
And that's almost why it's like uncomfortable sometimes, because you start to, if you regulate that consciously, it becomes uncomfortable and you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. But you have to will yourself to keep going, right? You don't do that with your heartbeat because we can't control
Right.
your heartbeat,
Right.
or your digestion or anything else. There was something else you said too, that when we're in that state, that negative state, that dysregulated state, we become victims of our environment. And I want to tap into that a little bit because I think it's really fascinating. And I agree, because I can see how from my perspective, I've definitely been a victim of my environment, not just overall environment for sure, but also your immediate environment. Like who's standing right in front of you, right? Who are you speaking with at this event? And what I've come to kind of realize from what I've learned and studied and experienced is your nervous system, when it's in that heightened state, you're super vigilant. Like your nervous system is just online. It's like a radio antenna that's just like listening to everything.
Yeah.
And so it's the antenna that makes you affected by the environment, right? And so if we can calm it down, then all of a sudden we're not tuning into all of the things all the time, and we can just be more of ourselves.
And that's where that's where I'm such a big fan of taking moments to breathe and getting moments of presence and meditation, because I believe that like we are beacons, like you just said, right? Like we're sitting out a radar and we're absorbing the environment around us, but we're also emitting a frequency. And so if you don't take time to ground your radar, into the frequency you want to be in, then I feel like you're more of a victim of the environment around you. You're more susceptible to the energy around you and less of the contributor. And when you take moments to like ground in, center into who you like, the energetic state that you want to be in. I want to be calm, grounded, centered in my parasympathetic state, like knowing that like now I can be my authentic self, and I'm not going to be the self that I feel like I have to be to try and appease or to get or to attract. It's more like I'm going to set myself into the frequency to align with what I want, and then anything that radiates with that frequency will be attracted to that, and anything that isn't related to that will go the opposite way. And that's where it's like I think taking time to do that puts us more in our true power. Because if you don't do that
100%.
and you just go into some environment and you're just kind of at the mercy of what's going on in there, it's just going to feel like let's say you go around people who are really dysregulated, you're going to get dysregulated, right? And it's like,
Yeah.
but when you go in, when you're grounded and centered in the frequency that you want to emit from the parasympathetic state, you come into an environment that's ungrounded and in the fight or flight, you're immediately going to feel that difference and be like, I don't connect here. This isn't my thing. I'm gonna pivot and go this way. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It's fascinating how you affect other people and other people affect you, and
Mm-hmm.
in ways that you don't even know or are aware of. And that's something I'm trying to learn from my own perspective, to your point of like, what are the things that I can do to quote unquote control the frequency that I'm in and the state of my nervous system. Right. I think that's super powerful. So you mentioned one thing, grounding, um, you know, being in that mindset of what you are trying to attract, the calm person.
Mm-hmm.
Um, One thing that I found for me as well is also choosing who you are around, right? Choosing who you interact with. And a lot of people, let's say their social environments, maybe their work environment, maybe their family environment for a lot of people can be toxic, can be unhealthy, can be full of anxiety and stress and tension. And like you
Yeah.
said, everyone's dysregulated, everyone is in sympathetic mode. And so if you're around that, you're going to be tuned in to that because, again, your nervous system is this antenna. It's just going to happen to you unless you are consciously working to ground yourself and to stay calm and to be
Yeah.
your own person. So I don't know if you have any other things that you've found that have worked for you, besides some of the ones you've already mentioned.
Uh, there's a practice that I enjoy. I'm a big fan of the conscious use of psychedelics. They help me very much stay in the present moment. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and over time, I'm retraining my subconscious. Right, like
Yeah.
when I'm microdosing, because I really only microdose, I don't do macrodoses and all that stuff. But I like to microdose psilocybin or LSD at periods of time to put me in a conscious state of my energy and to put me and it's you're just way more aware. You're way more aware of the way that you're feeling, and you're more in control of your responses. So like you can
Mm-hmm.
just shift perspective in the moment, and when you do that over a period of time, you're now literally reprogramming your subconscious mind to react differently. You're
Yeah.
literally reprogramming your nervous system to respond differently. Instead of having that constant stress, let's say you struggle with social anxiety and you microdose periodically when you go out into social environments, you're going to feel the urge of anxiousness and you can just breathe through it. Where normally
Mm-hmm.
you would be like, maybe you get really shy and really quiet or whatever your response is, run away. You know what I mean? It's just like you just breathe through it, and you literally change your reaction to the environment, and you can do that with anything. Like a lot of people use it for like public speaking events because
Right.
it's one of the most
Number one fear.
feared things on the right. It's
Number
like
one
people
fear.
use that, and over time, it's just like it goes away. And so that's
Yeah.
something that I openly talk about and I'm a fan of. I think you can get years worth of work done in weeks. And when it comes to like nervous system regulation and literally shifting your subconscious and changing your perspective and the way that you respond to the world around you. So that's something I'm a big fan of, but it's in combination with the breath work. It's in combination with the meditation.
Yeah.
It's in combination with the cold exposure, the sauna use, the journaling, like the deep the work I do on myself when I analyze my own perspectives and my own belief systems, and I challenge my thoughts and my beliefs, and I question where are they coming from? Are they really mine? Or was I programmed to have that belief or that perspective based upon my parents or my elders growing up? You know,
Right.
it's like I do that stuff too. I get into all of that because those are the like what we learn the first 7 years of our lives. drastically affects our nervous system and the way that we react in the rest of the world. And then when we
Oh,
can
it's
take
huge.
time to go back to that childlike parts of ourselves, send love to that child who didn't know any better, and help them to
Yep.
just, I feel like one of the biggest things in that endeavor anyways is just like we just needed to be loved and appreciated in a way that maybe we weren't. And it's like when we give that to ourselves, you will transcend childhood traumas and all these things and let go of stuff. And now it's like, now you realize like, now you tap into a calmer state of your nervous system even more. And you're just like, for me at least, I'm just like, man, how far can I go? Like how
Right.
free can I
Yeah.
be?
Yeah.
Because it's like the more you calm your nervous system, the freer you become, because now
Yeah.
you're not attached to those old traumas and those old belief systems that are controlling your nervous system's response to the world around you.
Yeah. It's huge, man. And what you
Yeah.
just talked about is one of the biggest things. And it's so connected to your point. Like, if you do feel this stuckness, if you do feel this, sympathetic dominance mode, if you're in fight or flight all the time, if you've been stuck or in this maybe, state of dis-ease for years, then it takes an identity shift that I'm going to be the healthiest person I know. I am going to be wellness focused. I'm going to focus on my health and fitness. I'm going to prioritize health over wealth and relationships. It really
Yeah.
takes that level of shifting your priorities in life. Because like you said, you just listed off a ton of things. I've done all of them too, right? Journaling, meditating, breath work, reparenting, which is what you were talking about, reparenting yourself.
Yeah.
You really have to get into all of that if you want to make these super deep shifts. And like therapy is a great approach as well if you want to. And going back to what you were saying at the beginning, it's all in the nervous system. It's all related to the nervous system, right? It's all trapped energy in the fascia, or it's trapped in the nervous system. It's dysregulations, it's chronic inflammation and stuff like that. And it's the body keeps the score, right? It's all in the body to some degree, and you can do the work to release what has been trapped in there. And a lot of times there's memories involved, and a lot of
Oh yeah.
times there's conditioning from family involved, like you said,
Mhm.
and you have to go deep into those places. The first 3 years of our lives, like you said, is very um, definitive of how our nervous systems and reactivity gets programmed. So that's really huge too. So all of these tools, we start to use them so that we can remember what it's like to be more regulated or more normal or more in the parasympathetic, and remember who we are, and shed these parts of ourselves or our psyches that are weighing us down, or that somebody else put on us, or that we absorbed from somebody, whether we knew it or not. And it's so cool how when you start working at the level of the nervous system and the energy that's there, and all these exercises that we've talked about, meditation for me has been a huge one. That's where you need to focus, and you can work on all of these things and more, right?
Yeah.
Like we talked about at the beginning, there's some physical aspects too. So it's a super powerful, just priority shift for anybody who's down their personal growth journey or their wellness journey or whatever, to look through the noise, right? Peel away the curtain and the noise of all the advertisements and all the content that's out there just to sell you whatever they're trying to sell you. And if you learn to feel your own nervous system, right, and realize where you're at, and then you just start working at that place.
Mhm.
And with the right tools, right, to your point, you can get a lot of work done that takes a lot of people years in just a short amount of time.
Yeah. And that is, I think, for me, anyways. I believe our intuition is directly connected to our nervous system.
100%.
And when
Couldn't
you
agree more.
calm and ground your nervous system, like truly calm and centered it, that's when I feel like you tap into like who you really are, right? Like, what is your, like,
Yeah.
where does your intuition come from? And like, what is it? How is it guiding you? You know, you can call it collective consciousness, you can call it God, you can call it universe, you call it whatever you want. But it's like, I believe that there is something above us that's higher than us, a higher aspect of us that is trying to help us and guide us to connect with other like-minded people, to connect with other, you know, people and organizations, and just put us in the right environments to thrive. And I think it's like you tap into that when you're calm and you're centered and you're in that state, and you wake up to like who have I been conditioned to be, and then who am I
Right.
really, right? Like that's
Yeah.
kind of like the awakening process, or whatever, however you want to call it. You know, when you become aware of yourself, and that's one of the biggest things that I focus on. You know, is connecting into my intuition and being guided by my feeling. And I think a lot of people, like we were talking about at the beginning, it's most people. I got in this conversation today with Miles talking about nervous system regulation, because we were talking about how most people are numbed out consumers. And they're just consuming, taking, addicted to dopamine in every form and fashion. If it's scrolling Instagram for likes and this and that, or you know, drugs, alcohol, sex, gambling, whatever you want to call it, whatever it is you're addicted to, that's giving you
Business,
this
money,
false sense of
cars.
dopamine. Right? It's just like you're constantly consuming. It's like, I believe that we are here to create, because when I'm creating, I feel most authentic to who I am. When I'm constantly in a state of consumption and consuming and getting and taking, and I'm not in the state of mind of like, how can I serve? How can I create something that's going to impact the world around me? How can I create something that's going to better my life and everyone around me? How can I give? How can I be of service? Like, that shifts drastically. But it's hard to do that when you're in fight or flight all the time and you live in survival mode. When you're in survival mode, all you're trying to do is survive. Your brain can't even fathom the idea of, how can I give? How can I contribute? How can I create? We don't.
And
You can't.
survival socially, right? Because
Yeah.
we're long past the days of life or
Right.
death survival, right? But our
Right.
bodies are still wired that way. And so the
Yeah.
survival mode is a isolation or
Mm-hmm.
homelessness or social I brain fart. I don't know what the word I'm looking for was there, but social isolation, basically,
Yeah.
right? And you want to survive in society,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the mode that we get stuck in, right? But if we focus
Yeah.
on these other things you're talking about, we can thrive as
Yeah.
ourselves rather than survive as a robot.
Mm-hmm. And I think when you tap into the intuitive guidance system, and you're in that creatorship, and you're coming from a place of serving and giving and building and creating, you start to attract other people who are in that state. And then you realize, like, I'm not all alone. I'm not isolated. I'm not lonely. But it was my overactive nervous system, my sympathetic nervous system, that is making me isolate and hide and feel alone. When I step into my truth and I express myself openly and honestly, and I don't care if I'm accepted or not, other people who are on that same path, they will come into your life, and you will start to realize how connected you are to everything around you. And it's like, I feel like connection is one of the most important things that we are dying for. We're dying to feel connected. We're dying to feel a deep, intimate connection with our lover, with our friends, with our community, with the world around us. Because it's like you just said, it's like we isolate in fear when we're in that sympathetic state, when really it's like, go into nature and connect. Go out into, like, connect with like-minded people, like we got to do today at the wellness event, and connect with other people who are like, it's inspiring to be around, because you're like, oh, I'm not all alone in this thing. Oh, I'm not out here just struggling to survive. It's like, we're all in this together. And if I can get into if I can calm my nervous system and tap into my intuitive guidance system, trust and lean into my desire, like my true passionate desires, because I feel like those passionate desires are directly related to our gifts that we're supposed to be serving through, like the vessel of what we're supposed to be serving through, then it's like, now I'm contributing. And it's like, when I think we've talked about it before, when they get into like the blue zones, the people who
Right.
live to be over 100 years old, some of the biggest aspects are their sense of community and their sense of like, there's still a purpose that they have. They need to take care of the great grandchildren. They need to do the garden. They need to help in this way. It's like they're still needed. That's why they stick around. That's why they are still healthy. And it's like, because there's still a purpose that they wake up with every day. You know, and so it's
that
like,
drives them.
Yes. It's like when we stop building, we stop creating, we stop contributing, we start to die. In my, at least in my perspective, it's like we let go of our bodies because, well, I don't really need it. It's not really doing anything for me because I'm not using it properly. I let go of, we get dementia and all these things because I'm not really using my mind properly. So it's just like, what do I need my brain for? I don't need to read anymore. I don't need to learn anymore. I don't need to help anymore. It's just like, calm your nervous system and serve. And I just feel like, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like there's anything else that we should be doing. It's like in that state of serve. I feel my nervous system. And then like get into like, it's something they all talk about. It's like when you heal your nervous system and you're coming from a healed state, like they say, it's like, okay, well, they say hurt people
it's going to affect
hurt
other people.
But healed people heal people. So now you're a beacon of healing. So people are going to come around you and they're going to feel that authenticity, that realness, that healed version of you, and it's going to inspire them to heal and step into their truth.
Yeah. And it really requires you to be so strong in that state so that you're no longer pinged or triggered by other people. And so that you lose, so that you kind of lose focus. Focus isn't the best word, but so that you get knocked out of that state. While
you lose alignment with it. Yeah.
You can lose alignment, right? If you're not so strong in that. So it does take the work, but there's a lot of people who are doing the work and who want to do the work. There's plenty of people who don't even know what the work is.
Right.
There's plenty of people, plenty of us who are doing it, who want to do it, and are going to continue to do it. And whatever it takes, right? We're going to get to that state, and we're going to help everyone else heal too.
Mm-hmm.
So
man. I feel like it's an exciting time for sure.
It's an exciting time to be alive, right? For sure. It's a great time to be alive. Watching like the wellness movement just like happen and to be a part of it too. I'm excited to be a part of it and to be more of a part of it. And there's one thing I think that you said, which was so interesting. And I'm starting to realize this more and more in the past, couple months, that our intuition is deeply tied into our nervous system. Mm-hmm. And I've known that the meditative work that I've done for years has improved and heightened my intuition. Mm-hmm. But connecting it to the nervous system is really interesting. And connecting it to the gifts that we're given to contribute to the world is even more interesting. So that's something like I'm kind of connecting the dots now as we're talking about this, right? The more you do this work, and I can see it happening from my own experience, the more that you do this work, the more you're going to know who you are and what you want to do with your life. And you're going to realize it's okay to go and do that rather than go and do what everyone else has been told or taught to do or conditioned to do.
Yeah.
And one thing you said at the very beginning when we were talking about the cold plunge sauna event we were just at is that it was a sober event. So there was not a lot of ego. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was a fascinating statement, to be honest, because it seems like the ego is the opposite of creativity. And there's a lot of ways of defining ego and the word ego and what it is. But in this social context, like the social ego, you walk into a room with an ego, it's typically not a good thing, right? And that could block. What's up?
I said, not anymore.
Not anymore. Well, because your ego can shift to one of calmness, I think. Mm-hmm. Right. But there's an aspect where you can have like that toxic ego or that negative side of ego where you're not willing to look at yourself. You're not willing to analyze yourself. And those are like two very contrasted ways of being, I think, where if you can learn, it's not even learn, if you can decide, if you get to a point where you're like, I've been living by this ego for so long, and I realize now that it's fake. And that's something that psychedelics helped me with as well, is realizing there's not just one mask. There are maybe hundreds of masks that I've been wearing, that if I could shed them, I don't know who that person is, but I know that's the real me. And if I can do that work, then if you're unhappy with wherever you are in your life, in your career, in your business, in your relationships, in your health, who cares what it is? If you're just not good with like where you're at, you're like, okay, if you can realize there's all these layers that you're not aware of yet, that if you can be aware that they're there, awareness is step one, and then do the work required. And we've talked about several ways on this podcast already. Do the work required to start to peel back the layers of the onion, as they say, right? Doing that work is going to build your intuition. And that intuition, it's almost like a valley or like a crevice. And it's going to get deeper and deeper and deeper and wider and wider and wider until it is connected to like the most you thing in your psyche and in your being, right? And then you're going to be the most you've ever been in your entire life, potentially, right? Or at least your adult life. Because as a kid, we're all authentic, most of us, right? As kids, we're playing, we're running, we don't have any responsibilities, no stress, we don't care about anything, right? We freely express our emotions, we don't hold on to the negative ones too much. And we can get back to that state as an adult. So I thought it was really interesting that you said there was not a lot of ego because of the sober aspect, and just comparing and contrasting like the kind of negative aspect of ego with the place that a lot of people want to be at, which is that positive side of self and intuition. And I think there's a big divide. And the one thing that I've noticed, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this actually, is what does it take to start the work to get there? I think it's just a decision of I want to get better, or I want to be better, or I want to be my best. I want to be the best version of myself. Even if there is some destination to get you started, great. I'm at the point where I've realized the journey is the destination. Where I know the journey is never ending at this point. Because even if you, let's say you theoretically heal all of the things, there's so much growth to be done. There's almost infinite growth. And it's so cool seeing what society is up to and more ways you can just keep going for yourself and for others, for humanity. It blows my freaking mind what's possible. So I know that the journey is the destination. And so if you're trying to get out of this state of ego or whatever it is that you're in, then you're like, this is fake, I don't like it. And you want to be living in this state of holistic self and wellness and intuition. It really just takes a decision and a commitment of I'm going to do whatever it takes to head in that direction and to just never stop. At least that's my own mental map, my own internal map. But I wonder what yours is and what you think it takes for people to start walking in that direction.
It definitely comes down to a choice, because when you start down the path of personal development, you're going to hit roadblocks. And
100%.
It's like that's what it is.
It's part. This is literally the work. Yeah,
that's the work. It's like, okay, you hit a roadblock. Okay, how do I confront this roadblock? Am I going to run away from it? Which most do. Most people just run away from the roadblocks, and they just keep detouring and distracting and just, like numbing out and pleasure seeking and dopamine addiction. And that's, unfortunately, there's a large population that's just the way they live. And that's fine. That's the journey they're on, which blows my fucking mind. to be honest with you, all the time. Like, I'm just like, when you watch someone, especially like family and like people that you love, repeatedly make toxic decisions, like the same ones, like the toxic patterns, you're just like, when are you going to get it? Like, what?
It's so frustrating.
But whatever. Like, to each his own, they're on their own journey. But it's like, for people like us, I feel like, at least for me, I do feel like it kind of started out somewhat selfish. Like, I wanted to make more money. I wanted to be
which is fine.
Stronger. Right, exactly.
I think that's the destination you can start with, right?
Yes.
If it gets you
100%.
Yeah.
I wanted to be better. I wanted to get stronger. I wanted to be bigger. I wanted to be faster. I wanted to be smarter. I wanted to make more money. I wanted to get more things. I wanted to get girls, right? Like, it started out there, and then it's like you slowly do get better. But then over time, you start to realize, like you said, the destination is the journey, because when you start to accomplish things, that thing becomes anticlimactic, because when you put all of your happiness on the end result, even if you get it, it's a fleeting moment. You know what I mean? It's like, celebrate it, but then realize like that the joy of life was in the journey toward that thing. And that's when I think after a while of physical attainment, you start to realize like that the journey is the way. And that for me is when I started more transitioning into letting go of my selfish endeavors and trying to tap into something bigger than myself, like a mission that is bigger than me. Because I'll be honest, I don't need a lot. I make more than enough money for me. I have more than enough things for me. I'm healthy. Like, and once you lose your health, like you said, like, that's all you really want to get back. Once you get your health back, you're just like, I'm good. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm alive. I'm breathing.
Now. Right. Like, I'm okay. Like, I'm not I don't feel hungover every single day anymore. So that's a win. I just won the lottery in my book. So now it's like, but I appreciate the work toward improving myself. And so now it's like, okay, now who do I have to become to make a massive impact? Right? Yeah. And so now it shifts. So it goes from like this personal endeavor of like, I just want to get better because of my own personal goals, my own personal desires, to, okay, I've gotten those things. Now it's more along the lines of like, now how can I help other people do the same thing? How can I have a mission that's bigger than myself that is eternal, right? It's like playing those limitless games instead of playing the game. Like, dude, it was the same way when I was a kid. Like, you want to go outside and play basketball? I don't even want to keep score. Let's just keep playing. Like, I'm not that guy. I'm not competitive like that. You want to go play pickleball? Let's just go play until we both are exhausted. Like, I don't care about score at all. Like, you know what I mean? It's the same with like business. It's like, I don't want to make $1 billion. If I could help 1 billion people, that'd be dope as fuck. You know what I mean? Like, that would be cool. But it's like, it's just, now the game is unlimited. And it's this, I'm so in the moment, because it's like, how can I be my best self right here, right now? How can I serve at the highest of myself? Well, I have to do the breath work. I've got to meditate. I've got to do cold plunge every once in a while. I've got to do hard things, because that makes me tougher, more mentally, physically, and emotionally stronger. How can I, attract in the type of love, the intimate connection I want to have? Well, I have an extremely high standard of what I want for that person, so I have to match that. So I've got to elevate myself to a standard that's going to attract in the type of woman that I want to be with. Same with my community of friends, right? Like, I have a very high standard for myself, so I only accept a high quality of person around my environment, because we talked about, it's like, you are going to be you're going to be what is the term? It's like you're
like the average of the 5 people.
Yeah. And so it's like, I want to hang out with the 5 dopest people I fucking know. People who are like healthy and conscious and fit, making great money, not just to make great money, but to fucking be better and to help and build things. Yeah. It's like, let's build shit together. Let's make money together. Let's travel together. Let's fucking, like, when you're going through hard times, I got you. And then it's like, I know I can lean on you and have, like, get that support when I need it too. Because it's like, one of my favorite quotes, I think it's either by Ron Dass or by Alan Watts, and the quote is, "We're all just walking each other home." And it's just like, when you can think of it that way, so now I want to surround myself with people
Yeah.
that I'm walking home with. It's like,
Mm.
because I'm going to lean into them at times, they're going to lean into me at times, so I need to be as strong as possible all the time. Right? And so now
Yeah.
I want to be with, same thing, I want to be with a partner who has the same perspectives. I want to be with a partner who wants to be better and wants to serve and give. I want to be with friends who want to serve and to give and to improve themselves so that they can serve and give at their highest quality. So they, when they're learning new things, now they're contributing to our collective group, right? It's like our brains and are literally wired to live in tribes of 150 people or less, because we're
Right. Yeah.
meant to feel connected. We're meant to have a purpose that is contributing to the whole. I'm the guy who goes and gets the
Yeah.
water today. I'm
And
the
our
guy.
brains can't
You're gonna go
like handle
hunt.
more than that.
You're gonna do the veggies. You're gonna do that. It's like we're all contributing, and so it's like when we can create a conscious community of givers and servers and lovers and builders and dreamers. It's like now you've literally created the life you want to have, and now because also our nervous system will be affected by the people around us, right? So it's like if we're around a bunch of dysregulated people who are dopamine addicted and numbing out with video games and cell phones and social media and drugs and gambling and all these things, it's now our nervous system is going to be affected by them. As much work as we do, it's still going to be affected by them. So that's where it's just like, you've got to set your frequency and then also have fucking healthy boundaries to not let anybody in that doesn't match. Because my frequency is going to keep rising. I'm addicted to progress. It's not about attainment. It's about progress. And so I know that I'm going to keep leveling up. So I have to be around people who want to continuously level up too.
Yeah. There was a girl I was dating a couple of years ago, and we were sitting down one day at a table at a cafe, and we were talking about just overall kind of progress and stuff. And I was like, I don't like having any addictions. I'm not addicted, or no vices, no coffee, no drugs, caffeine, weed, like none of that. And she sat there for like 2 seconds and she was like, "You're addicted to growth."
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, she's right. But I wasn't mad at it. I'm like, yeah, I guess I am, And to your point, you want to be around those people. Like, I want to be around those people, right? Those are the types of people I want to have in my circle so that we're all helping each other grow, because that's where it's at. You don't get, I forget the saying. It's like, you don't get pulled up to the top in growth. You get pushed up by like the people that are helping you, by the people that are supporting you. Right.
Yeah.
So you really have to have that circle, and, the energy that you carry matters, and you're going to get affected by people and their negative energy if you let yourself get affected by it.
Yeah.
And that's something I've had to learn, and back in high school days where you're learning about girls and picking up girls, or, whenever that was, they say, your body language really matters. You want to be open body language. So like, don't cross your arms because this is closed off. You want to be more open so that you look like you're, easy to talk to. Well, you're basically saying, hey, I'm open. My energy is open. I'm a cool guy. Come talk to me. Well, I've realized that if you do that with someone whose energy is not for you, with someone who's maybe a little bit more toxic, with somebody who is more dysregulated, then now you're open to letting in whatever they're giving off, right? And that can be someone who just never stops talking, especially about themselves. And if you're just open like this, you're going to be, because this happens to me all the time, you're just onboarding all of their stuff, and they never take a break. I realized, and I even tried this the other day, I was like, what if I just cross my arms while this person's talking? And literally this guy started to walk away. Like the second and then I uncrossed, and he stood there and hung out. Then I crossed again, and he started to walk away. So it was so immediate. It was crazy to me. So that's one tool that I have now to like guard my energy and my nervous system and the regulation of myself, of André, so that I'm not letting in what I don't want to let in. And I think that's one, at least it's not for everybody, right? Not everyone is at that level where they're working at that kind of tool set, right?
Yeah.
But for those of us that are realizing I need to guard my nervous system and protect my energy and stay in my regulation and not let other people's dysregulation affect mine, that's one that I've noticed is super powerful. And being
Yeah.
able to breathe in the moment as well. You know, do some belly breaths, do some long exhales, do some self-somatic work where you can realize, what am I feeling right now? Why am I feeling it? Is it from me or is it from some other person? And what can I do about it?
Yeah.
And some of those basic tools have been so powerful and can be very powerful, because then you're not dipping down too far on your staircase of growth, right? You can have a small dip and then keep going, and a small dip and keep going, rather than these like up and down jagged crevices. So
Yeah.
anything you can do to keep that growth line steady and to maintain sanity is a big one for me as well, right?
Yeah.
On your journey towards growth. I think all those things are super important and very powerful.
Yeah, I agree. And it's a never ending journey. It just keeps, and that's what I like about it. It's the same, like my health and fitness is the same thing. We're constantly learning new things. It's constantly
Yeah.
evolving. There's always new modalities. Right now, peptides are huge, and we're learning so much about how
Right.
to
We
heal
didn't
the
even talk
nervous
about
system
peptides.
with peptides. You know what I mean? It's like I think peptides help me heal from toxic mold illness more than anything over the last year and a half, than
Yeah.
anything I've come across. Like, because I was doing the dieting, I was doing the detoxing, I've been doing this stuff for 10 years. You know, the meditations and all that stuff, and it's just like the peptides help literally relax my nervous system to a place I could only tap into for moments of time, and
I still need to
it's
look into that.
oh my gosh, dude, it's
Yeah, you've talked
incredible.
about that.
Yeah,
Someone was
it's
talking about it at the event this morning. So I'm going to go to
yeah,
wherever that place, I just wrote it down. I'm going to go find
heck
that
yeah.
spot and check it out.
There's so much information out there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
One last thing I want to touch on real quick. I know we're hitting the hour mark.
okay, yeah.
What you were just saying was, or what you said a little while ago is, you quoted whoever it was, Alan Watts or someone, that we're all just walking each other home.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I get like the tingles just saying that. And when you first said it, just thinking about it, basically, to me, it sounds like home is death, right? Eventually we're going to die.
Mm-hmm.
And we're all just helping ourselves get to that home place in a, comfortable journey with other people.
Mm-hmm.
We're all just walking each other there because that's where we're all going. We're all going to die. Death is waiting for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
And as I've studied about chiropractic, and because I'm going to chiropractic school next year, I'm going to start chiropractor. There's this talk, at least, that I listened to, was, if you look at medical science, medical doctors and medicine, they tried to define life and death. They try to define death, and they did it in various ways throughout the course of history.
Mm-hmm.
At first, there was like a breath test. They said, okay, well, if we hold a mirror up to someone's mouth and the mirror does not fog up, then they're not breathing.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're not breathing, then they must be dead.
Mm-hmm.
But that isn't true. You can hold your breath. You can stop breathing for a long time. People were buried alive because of that.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's not death, right? And then they said, well, what if about when the heart stops? When the heart stops, then you're dead.
Mm-hmm.
People have come back, right? People's hearts have stopped from heart attacks, or they've stopped for a bit, and we can zap people back to get their hearts working again, at least,
Mm-hmm.
right? You can have a heart transplant,
Yeah.
and you're still alive, right? So it's not the heart either. And what they've found is that it's the electricity of the body, that
Mm-hmm.
when the energy leaves your body, that's when you're dead.
Right.
When all of the energy leaves your body, you're dead. And if it's the nervous system and the fascia, like you mentioned, the fascia is like the matrix of it. But I think the nervous system is the wiring of it.
Yes.
If it's the nervous system, that's the wiring that we are most in tune with for the energy in our body. wouldn't we want, and if that is what defines death, right? When our energy is gone, or when it's just, if it gets in such a bad state, let's say it just leaves, or if that's like that defined line between life and death is the energy in our body, wouldn't we want to take such good care of the nervous system, which is the hardware, which the energy moves throughout our entire body with? Wouldn't we want to take such good care of that so that we're not just surviving, but so that we're thriving, and that the energy, our life energy, can literally flow through us to the best of its capacity while we're here on this planet, before all of that energy just decides to go, nope, I'm done, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Right? If it stops traveling to the brain, maybe, like you said, we get dementia and stuff like that. If it starts traveling to other parts of the body, we're going to get dis-ease in those areas of the body, right? Why wouldn't we want to do things and live life in such a way where the capacity for the energy is to the max, right? Where our bandwidth is capacitated, right? Where we're like, there's so much bandwidth, I feel so much energy, I feel so alive.
Yeah.
Because that's literally the definition of life, is having that energy.
Yeah.
And one day it's all going to be gone. And like you said, we're walking each other home. We're all going to get to that place where there's no energy left. And when you get to that point, I used to think, why do I move? Why do I work out? Why do I run? Why do I do calisthenics? Why do I use my body in these ways? And the answer that I came to was, because if I couldn't, I damn well would wish that I could. If I couldn't move, if I was paralyzed, I would wish so much. I would give anything to be able to move again and to do all these things, right? And we're going to get to a point where we're walked home and we're walking through the door and our energy is about to leave our body, right? We're about to die. And it's like, I don't want to get to that point and be like, man, I wish I used my energy differently.
Yeah.
I wish I took care of my body better so that I had more bandwidth, I had more capacity to have felt more alive and thrived more during my life while I was alive.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's where I think passion is the highest form of energetic expression. And so when we can tap into our passion, I think that's when you're living life at the furthest end of its experience that we could, at the highest point. And so whenever we can tap into moments of that, it's just like, it's bliss. Like, that's what we're here to do. In my experience, at least my belief is that we're here to feel and experience the full ends of all the spectrums that is human. That's what I believe.
Yeah.
We're energetic beings here, like, to experience. And so it's the stronger and the more healed our nervous system is, the more in alignment we are, the more we feel everything. And then it's like we're meant to also experience the low ends of the spectrum. Like, that is where we learn so much.
Yeah, but we're not meant to stay there.
No, but we are meant to go there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of learning and releasing and healing that happens there that allows us to let go of the weights holding us down there to fucking catapult us to the full other end of the spectrum.
And you have to let go of those weights.
Yes, you do. I mean, you don't have to. But if
fair.
If you want to experience the full spectrum of it, you do.
Yeah.
Most people are terrified of that shit. Most people, even if you told them, like, one thing I've said is, I wish I could bottle up what it feels like to be me, like, to be passionate, loving, outgoing, giving, nurturing, like, to be what it feels like to be strong and powerful and to be passionate about my life. I wish I could give that to you so you could sip it and just get, like, maybe 5 minutes of that, because then you would understand why I do what I do. Right. Why I eat the way I eat, train the way I train. Like, someone was asking me today, like, doesn't it get old? And I'm like, not at all. Like, no, never. Like, because I don't just eat the way I eat and do what I do for muscles and abs. It is literally affecting my nervous system and my energetic state. Everything I eat, everything I do, the books I read, if I watch movies or TV shows, the environment, everything I'm
Yep.
absorbing is affecting my energy and it's affecting my nervous system. And so I want to do everything I can to elevate energetically, elevate mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And so I'm going to do like everything I have to do. It's not like everything I do, it's not disciplined to the point of I have to do this or people are going to think I'm fat or ugly. It's not like that. It's literally like,
Yeah.
if I don't do these things, I notice that my frequency is lower and I don't like that feeling. I am addicted to high vibrational states, but I'm also addicted to the feeling of life. So like even when I am in the drudgery of the darkness, the dark nights of the soul, the catastrophic moments that bring me to my fucking knees, I cannot explain to you how grateful for those moments I am in the moment. Like I will be broken in gratitude for the brokenness because I know that I need that too, you know, and then it always wakes me up to other aspects of myself to release and peel back more layers, like you were talking about, and let go and like become more vulnerable and become more authentic, you know. And I think that's what we're here to be. We're here to like slowly step more and more into our authentic selves and to express that openly, because that's when you attract other people on the same vibration and into the same stuff. And when you're and now it's like now you're creating your world instead of you came into this world with these sets of parents and in this environment and all these traumas and all these things. It's like you can now heal from those things and now create the family you want to have by attracting in people that are into the shit you're into. You know?
Yeah. 100%.
And then we walk each other home together on that path. You know? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Man, well, this has been such a good convo. I love every time we chat. It's great.
I know, it's awesome.
It's always good to have such like-minded people, and I would love to have more of an audience or a community. So if anyone's watching this, after the fact, reach out to Nick or to me, and let's just get in touch. Let's stay connected. I think we're both trying to build like a community around this. So I would love to see just more. More of this, more of everything, more aliveness, more intuition, more authenticity, more people.
Yeah.
So real quick, Nick, where can people get a hold of you?
So I'm on Instagram, Nick_Antico, Antico. I'm on Facebook. I think it's Nick Antico 88. I'm on TikTok. I think it's just Nick Antico. My email is fitcoachnick@gmail.com. I'm on YouTube too. If you just type in Nick Antico, I will pop up. So yeah.
Sweet. Cool, brother. Well, I appreciate you. Thanks for coming on, and maybe we'll do another one sometime in the future.
Yeah, more than likely, because I feel like every time we talk, it feels like we're having a podcast anyway.
Right. Let's just bring a mic set with us next time.
Yeah, we'll just start recording wherever we're at, coffee or some shit. Yeah.
Which, like, I used to do. Like, I love doing that stuff too. So
yeah.
Cool, man. Well, hey, we got the Cold Tub Coffee Club tomorrow.
Oh yeah,
tomorrow morning. I'm stoked for that. Round 2 of today. And dude, I'm going to go home. My takeaway from this podcast and from today was feeling what it's like to be parasympathetic, feeling what it's like to be grounded and regulated, almost as if I took that sip of what it feels like to be the self, right? Like you were just saying a little bit ago. I had some of that at the event today, and I've done a lot of work, and it's still like that was significant for me. And so that was a good checkpoint, right? It's a good point of reference, a good anchor point.
Yeah.
And so that's my takeaway. I hope people listening to this can get to a point where they can feel that. And if not, I think we both have tools that we can help them with to help them get there. And there's, tons of stuff online, breathwork, meditation, whatever, right? Whatever it takes. But that's my biggest takeaway is get a flavor of that and then keep doing the work to get back to that point.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really appreciate it. Can't talk. I really appreciated that. And yeah, dude, we'll chat again soon.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on, André. You always have amazing conversations.
Thanks, man. See you later.
Later.